Good evening, everyone. We've got some severe weather to talk about. Give me just a second to get everything shared out on social, then we'll get started. And if things pan out right, we'll hit halftime on the UK game dead on. Let me know where you're watching from the night. It's going to be a long night for my friends in Western Kentucky, folks. Could get some serious severe weather out west tonight. Now that's a little outside my normal coverage area, but I wanted to make sure to drop in and also talk about tomorrow, because I think we may get a little bit of severe weather in central and eastern Kentucky, or flooding. Alright, let me know where you're joining from. We're going to try to go live when we get into halftime. Maybe just a second or two before. Cats are down 44-36. About 45 seconds left in the first half. But we've got some big weather to talk about tonight. Let's go ahead and get started. That way, when the folks start taking a break from the UK game, they can pop on and find this. All right, welcome. My name is Meteorologist Shane Smith. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. I'm a meteorologist based out of London, Kentucky, in southeastern Kentucky. And normally I focus on central and eastern Kentucky, but I wanted to give my friends over in western Kentucky a little bit of love and attention tonight, because y'all got some pretty significant severe weather heading your way. In fact, a very rare occurrence ongoing right now. You'll notice I've got that map up under my camera. That is a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch until 3 a.m. Central Time. So that's going to go for several more hours. And this is rare. This is something you don't see a lot. The National Weather Service breaking out the PDS wording. Particularly dangerous situation. They only issue watches and warnings with this tag if they feel extremely confident that destructive, severe weather that can threaten life and property is likely. This is not your run-of-the-mill typical tornado watch. This is an elevated level. So we want to give it the respect it deserves. Now, thankfully, no active warnings in Kentucky right now. But I am tracking a very potent line of thunderstorms with multiple tornado warnings racing across Missouri and into Illinois as we speak. In fact, up at St. Louis Metro under an observed tornado warning for about another 27 minutes. That's going to take them up to 10:05 Central Time. In addition to the observed tornado on that, potential hail up to ping pong ball size. Also down to the south, you have tornado warnings for Carter County in Missouri, and also Howell and Oregon County in south central Missouri. And those storms are lifting east and northeast, and there's more storms back into Arkansas. And those are the storms that are eventually going to make their way into far western Kentucky after midnight. So we've got about 2 hours or so before the party really kicks off in western Kentucky. So let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you want to talk about with the severe weather. I'm going to focus more on central and eastern Kentucky for what to expect tomorrow at the beginning of the broadcast. And then we may do a little bit of live storm tracking towards the end if we have some audience from over in Western Kentucky. And I will be happy to answer your questions. Post those on the chat, Facebook, and YouTube. This is a great night tonight. Hit that share button. Let folks know that we are live. We are talking about the weather, and that we have the potential for some pretty significant weather tonight in Western Kentucky. And then I think the entire state of Kentucky at least has the potential for some heavy rain and gusty winds on Saturday. And there could be some flash flooding with that. So, Shane joining us from Hazard. Thank you. Maria Roark asking, do I think that watch will move east? I think we will see a continuation of the tornado watch or a new severe thunderstorm watch. I don't know that it necessarily makes it to the I-75 corridor. We'll talk about that in just a second, as I am expecting these storms to die down through the evening hours. And I see we have hit halftime now on the UK game, so folks may be popping in. So if you have questions about the severe weather, please let me know. We're going to take a quick look at a few of the radars out in Western Kentucky and over in Missouri, just to take a look at some of these storms. And this storm up near St. Louis is absolutely just ripping. Notice that very intense notch there west of Belleville. That is a very good indicator that there is rotation there. You can see the gate-to-gate couplet pretty much right on top of CPS Airport. That is south of St. Louis proper. That's where you see those greens and reds coming together. If there's a tornado on the ground up there, that's where that is going to be. That moving off to the north and the east. So thankfully that is going to stay out of Kentucky. But the storms that are right now down into northern Arkansas, those are the ones that are catching my attention, that may move into western Kentucky here in the next 2 to 3 hours or so. You can see a pretty good thunderstorm with a tornado warning near Franklin, Arkansas right now. That does have an observed tornado tag. That includes Fulton and Sharp counties in Arkansas. This tornado confirmed on the ground, moving northeast at 55 near Franklin, or 7 miles northeast of Melbourne. So that is a pretty dangerous situation out there out in northern Arkansas. And those storms will push into western Kentucky over the next couple of hours. So if you live west of I-65 tonight in Kentucky, that is going to be the main zone of severe weather. Here's the Storm Prediction Center severe weather outlook for the remainder of the night and into early on Saturday morning. A 4 out of 5 for the areas in the red. That is a moderate risk of severe weather. The orange areas, an enhanced risk. That's a 3 out of 5. A slight risk in the yellow, 2 out of 5. And the dark green, a marginal risk. So that gets to about the I-75 corridor from Corbin up to Covington. Shane Stamper asking, do you expect Perry County to get flooding tomorrow like we did a couple weeks ago? Now, thankfully, I think we should avoid that kind of flooding in Perry County. It's looking like the heaviest bands of rain are going to set up in central and in western Kentucky. And actually, I can show you a current map. Just 1 second. I should have had this pulled up ahead of time. This is the current watches and warnings, and you will notice a flood watch for a large chunk of central Kentucky, but that does not include Perry County, Perry County being about right there. So not expecting flooding in Perry County tomorrow. I know a lot of folks in Hazard very nervous after the flood a couple weeks ago back at Valentine's Day, actually a month ago now, almost to the date. So I know folks are definitely in eastern Kentucky a little bit more cognizant of the flood threat. Right now, I think this is going to be more of a central Kentucky issue with flooding tomorrow. Also, wind advisories for most of the state tomorrow. So gust, even outside of thunderstorms, upwards of 40 miles per hour. So let's break down the different severe weather threats for tonight and tomorrow. Then if you have questions, we will try to answer those the best that I can. So, tornado risk, 15% in the red, 10%. So that means any point within 25 miles of those areas have a 15 to 10% chance of a significant tornado. That's EF2 or stronger. So that is enough to make you go, okay, this is a serious situation. The hail outlook in Western Kentucky, the area in red, 30% of at least golf ball sized in the hatched area. The wind threat looks like it's going to be mainly centered in Illinois, but they've got a 45% chance of seeing wind gusts of at least 60 miles per hour. And then here is the day 2 outlook. Most of Kentucky under a slight risk of severe weather, and you'll notice the very rare high risk down in Alabama and Mississippi. So tomorrow, if you've got friends, family, relatives, people you know down in Alabama and Mississippi, they need to be extremely cognizant of the weather and have a hyper focus on the weather tomorrow. This could be a significant tornado outbreak down there. Up here in the bluegrass, I'm not expecting a major, widespread severe weather outbreak, but what I am concerned about is flooding in south central and central Kentucky and the potential of gusty winds 60 miles per hour, maybe some gusts even stronger than that. Although the good news is the modeling has backed off a little bit on some of the stronger winds, which is some good news. We don't want no 70 mile per hour gusts rolling through. You see, we're under a 15% chance tomorrow in most of Kentucky for damaging winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. This is the excessive rainfall outlook from the Weather Prediction Center. Notice we're under a slight risk as well for excessive rainfall that could lead to flash flooding. That is part of why we have the flash flood watch out, or excuse me, just regular flood watch out for central and south central Kentucky tomorrow. So how does this all play out? Here's the HRRR model's take on everything. And if you have questions, please feel free to post those in the chat, and I will try to get to those as I see them, as I bounce between windows. So tonight, it looks like the thunderstorms cross the Ohio probably about 2 or 3 in the morning, according to the HRRR. They push towards Bowling Green around 6 a.m., and then they die out because they lose the heating of the day. Then, as that area of low pressure, the new area of low pressure, develops off to our south and a warm front starts lifting north, we're going to see precipitation break out across most of the state. The big question tomorrow is how long does that precipitation last, and how heavy is it before we kick that cold front on out of here tomorrow night? The longer we get rain, the lower the wind threat, but the higher the flooding threat. And there's still a lot of questions about exactly how this is going to play out. And a lot of it, honestly, folks, is going to depend on what happens to our south. The southern end of this storm will likely suck up some of the energy in the atmosphere. The question is how much gets past that and gets on north into Kentucky. And if we see a break in the clouds tomorrow afternoon, how much energy do we pour into the atmosphere before that next wave moves in? Sunshine is not our friend tomorrow. The more sunshine we see, the better chance we have at severe winds tomorrow night. Maria Roark just asked, percentage tornado threat. Sarah Berry, how bad in Corbin tomorrow? Sarah, Corbin. Right now, as far as tornado threat, low. Damaging wind threat, kind of middle of the road. Flood threat, middle to high. So I'm more worried about the high water issues in Corbin and London and the wind than I am necessarily tornadoes tomorrow. Let me pop back over to a different graphic. This is the day 2 tornado outlook. I think I skipped this one by accident. So it only has most of Kentucky in the brown, which is a 5% chance. Now I said, no, that's only 5%. That's still enough to raise a couple red flags. But the wind chance is much larger, up to 15%. So places like Corbin, Richmond, back over to Louisville, E-Town, Bowling Green, Owensboro, Mayfield, Paducah, in that 5% risk of a tornado tomorrow. And this is as of right now. The Storm Prediction Center will issue an update to this tomorrow morning. And like I said, a lot of what happens tomorrow is going to depend on how tonight plays out and how tomorrow morning plays out. So let's go back to the radar and kind of show you how that plays out again tomorrow. So this is 7 a.m. in the morning. That first dying line is weakening. The warm front starts lifting north. More showers and storms pop along it. During the afternoon, the low pressure and cold front sweep in. Heavy rain develops. Gusty winds. Maybe even a few lingering storms into Sunday morning. And on the backside, these wouldn't be severe, but could be some small hail producers and some heavy rain producers Sunday afternoon. As far as how much rain, according to the HRRR model, this is what has me concerned. Notice this stripe of 4 to 5 inches of rain from Bowling Green to E-Town to Frankfort to Dry Ridge. That area could be game on for some flash flooding. That is something we're going to have to watch very closely if the HRRR solution ends up being the correct solution. And I know I got some folks watching in Perry County concerned how much rain Perry County could see tomorrow. According to the HRRR, most of the county about an inch, inch and a half. It's not great. Wouldn't want much more than that. I think we can handle that. It's once we start getting up above 2-3 inches right now is where the issues would start happening. Wind, according to the HRRR model. Tonight, wind gusts, this is at 2 o'clock Central, 20 to 30 miles per hour along the I-75 corridor, 30 to 45 miles per hour along the I-65 corridor. Western Kentucky gusts upwards of 50 to 60, could be even higher during severe thunderstorms. 7 a.m. in the morning, the core of the wind energy over central and south central Kentucky, 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts possible. Could be higher in thunderstorms. And then as the cold front moves in, some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, maybe a few in thunderstorms pushing 50 to 60. The HRRR is not as enthused about the wind as some of the other models. And I hope it's right. This is another model's take. This is the NAM. Very similar with the storm dying down as we go through the overnight. That makes sense. We don't have the sun driving the thunderstorms, fueling them. Warm front lifting in, showers and thunderstorms developing along it. It is showing a little bit more sunshine and a line breaking out ahead of the main line. The low a little bit farther west on this model. And then heavy rain and a squall line of thunderstorms rolling east into eastern Kentucky early Sunday morning. This is the rain from it, not quite as intense as the HRRR, but still showing a nice band of 2 to 3 inches there from Lexington to about Columbia. And the winds are a little bit stronger on this model. Keeping things 40 to 50 overnight tonight. And then 40 to 60 tomorrow evening. Yeah, look at that. Somerset, 70 mile per hour wind gust, 11 o'clock tomorrow night if the NAM is right. And that goes through eastern Kentucky during the early morning hours on Sunday. So let's hope the HRRR is right about the wind, because oh, Trish, checking in for E-Town. Okay, E-Town, let's roll the beautiful bean footage for E-Town. Let me switch back to this model. So first round for E-Town should be between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock local time in the morning. And then it's just going to flat rain most of the day in E-Town, according to this model. Some pretty heavy rain. In fact, E-Town could pick up 5 inches of rain tomorrow if the HRRR is correct. So more concerned with flooding than severe weather in E-Town tomorrow if that model is right. Still could see some gusty winds, still have an isolated tornado threat tonight. But the worst of the severe weather looks to be west of E-Town tonight, Trish. So I think tomorrow it's more worried about the heavy rain and the wind, and especially the heavy rain. That's my bigger concern for tomorrow. Do want to switch back over to Radar Omega real quick. Show you something you don't see too often. Over in Missouri, Carter County under a PDS tornado emergency. So they have a confirmed large destructive tornado on the ground near Fremont or near Van Buren, moving northeast at 60. You can switch the radar over to velocity mode and track that real quick. It is really, really far away from the Paducah radar site. That is, southeast Missouri is like a radar no man's land. Let me pop up correlation coefficient. That might be a better way to track this thing from that range. Yeah, this area, let me get my telestrator going. Right in there. That is showing differences in the particles in the atmosphere. This is what we call correlation coefficient. So where there's that little change in the colors, that is concerning for the potential of a pretty potent tornado. I'm trying to see if there's a radar that can see that better. It's kind of out in radar no man's land. It's like smack dab in the middle of 4 radar sites. So that storm continued to push east-northeast. So that should pass north of Paducah, but Paducah definitely want to be keeping an eye on this. Cairo, this is probably about still an hour to 2 hours out for far western Kentucky. But anytime you see that peak and black box show up on the old radar scope, that is that's a little bit of a concern. Diana Strunk asking about Gatlinburg, Tennessee tomorrow. Will it be worse than Kentucky? Well, we can take a quick look at that for you, Diane. So yeah, Gatlinburg. Oh, Tennessee geography, you are failing me right now. It has been too long. Hang on one second. I gotta look and see exactly where Gatlinburg is on that map of Tennessee. Okay. Gatlinburg. Yeah, Gatlinburg is going to be right on that border of that enhanced zone. So Gatlinburg would have a little bit better shot at severe weather than Eastern Kentucky tomorrow. Looks like the worst of that will come rolling through late tomorrow, probably 10 o'clock to about 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, Diane. So that is what we are watching for down in Gatlinburg. How's Kentucky doing? Down 7? Yeah. Any other questions, folks? I'm happy to answer them. I know a lot of folks probably back watching the game. We're still not into the severe weather in Western Kentucky. It's going to be a couple more hours. I did see the National Weather Service in Paducah is doing a live stream. They do a great job out there covering Western Kentucky. I want to give those folks their kudos and their props. We're going to watch the situation for Central and Eastern Kentucky, and I'll break in tomorrow with updates on my Facebook page as needed. And if we need to go live, we'll see about that. But I think right now, if there's no further questions, we're going to go ahead and just wrap this live stream up, and we will wait and see and kind of see how this all plays out. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you have not hit that like and subscribe button yet, please do so. Like the video on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. We are just, I think, three or four subscribers short of 400. Love to get that up to 500 as soon as we can. Meteorologist Shane Smith on Facebook. Hit that follow button. We are close to 1,200 followers there, and love talking about the weather in Central and Eastern Kentucky. And the more folks that we got watching, the easier it is to get out there and do this a little more often. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all, and stay safe tonight. Have multiple ways to get those warnings. Have a plan of action tomorrow, depending on the type of severe weather your neighborhood is expecting. So for flooding, know where the higher ground is. For severe weather, know where the safe spot in your house is. Have a way to deal with power outages. That's going to be the big issue in Kentucky tomorrow. For folks in Western Kentucky tonight, weather radio, apps, multiple ways to get alerts because tornadoes possible west of I-65 tonight. All right.